Hello there. Good morning and good evening. It gives me a great pleasure to once again stay connected in these online sessions. And I want to thank you for all the feedback and the comments that you've given. Most importantly, I want to say that I'm expressing my joy that many of the people who have been as part of these sessions have really got benefited and they have shared their testimonies with us continues to it continues as a kind of overwhelming session to kind of portray all of these ideas that are very helpful for every one of us in terms of leading a very victorious and successful life. I keep telling you this, that our main intention and motive is to um, get people on the victorious side, on the successful side. And so far we had been doing a good job there, but we definitely encourage every one of you to please share those topics where we can really be of that little help to you. Okay, so once again, welcome to the session, and today we are going to deal with a very important subject. As always, we have dealt only with important subjects, right? So today we are going to talk about habits, right? So this is a very complicated subject. Why? Because to some people, habits are good habits. For some people, the same good habits becomes bad habits, right? To some people, eating groundnuts is really good for health and etc. For some people, oh no, 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 it increases cholesterol levels. Some people, sleeping late is good, and getting up late is good for me because that's how my lifestyle works, absolutely in a balanced way. But some people, they say no, no, it's absolutely against the nature. That's not the way you could sleep late and get up late, because when the sun sets, it's to indicate that it's time for dinner, right? That's the kind of life you should be living. So what happens is, what seems good to people in terms of habits that are good, the same habits seems to be really bad to the other category of people. So that's where we end up in a lot of controversies, contradictions. So here in the session, we are not here to judge and say this is good, that is bad, but we are going to also touch upon these aspects at a very high level and leave it to your judgment, because ultimately you are the judge over your life, your lifestyle, and ultimately it's your lifespan that you want to live to the fullest extent in a very healthy way, in a very fruitful way, and in a very productive way, right? These are the reasons why we had been conducting these kind of sessions. Once again, warm welcome, and we will deal with the subject habits, right? What is a habit? By explanation, by definition, right? And a habit is a routine of behavior that is repeated regularly on a on a periodic basis or on a daily basis, maybe every moment, right? Some people practice the habit of keeping up their humor every moment, whatever may be the situation, sad situation, grievous circumstances, but they don't tend to go to the funeral ceremony and laugh like a person, making fun of the person who is dead in the coffin. Not like that, but to a large extent they keep their motives always cheerful, right? They keep up that humor regardless of any situation they go through, right? Some people, they enjoy it every moment and they keep it as a practice, as a principle. So that is repeated regularly and tends to occur subconsciously, right? In your subconscious, those habits are being attached and they are part and parcel of your life and lifestyle. So you cannot alienate yourself, separate yourself from the habit. They are mixed together with your life, right? Now new behaviors can become automatic through the process of habit formation, new companionship, new place, new circumstance, new work, new job, anything it could be. It could inculcate new habits. So that is a different topic. We are not mixing that with this, but these are habitual practices that becomes your habit, right? Now that is the definition. Now how long does it take to break a habit? Now, before that comes a question, why I need to break a habit? And that's what we are definitely going to address in this session. What habits needs to be broken, right? And they don't seem to be right. We are going to tell you certain facts and leave it to your judgment. And through all of these sessions, you might have noticed one thing: we don't enforce anything. We leave it to people's judgment and discretion, and we gently tell them and we leave it there, because we definitely want to give that kind of liberty for the people to choose things and live their life, right? How long does it take to break a habit? Let us assume that certain habits you are really accepting and conclusive. It doesn't go well with me. For example, the habit of consuming alcohol. Every single day you consume alcohol, you want to break that habit, but you're not able to break the habit. So researchers from 2012 roughly, looking at the habit formation, suggest around uh, 10 weeks or about 2.5 months, 2.5 months is a more realistic estimate for any people to break a habit. Therefore, you need to have a gut feeling. Stay confident. Any habit you will be able to break in a tenure that is, after all, 10 weeks. That's human psychology. Only thing you need to slightly start tuning your brains. That's the much needed thing here, right? The main evidence, back time frame for habit breaking comes from 2009 research. This research started more from 2009 because roughly from that time only more bad habits started getting introduced to the market. We will discuss about that in the in the session itself, which suggests it can take anywhere from 18 to 254 days. That is another statistics, right? It could even extend to a year also. So don't get dismayed. Start counting. Okay, this is 10th week and I'm not able to break it. No, for in some studies it has gone even to 1 year. Some studies it has gone even to 10 years. Some studies lifelong they are not able to overcome because they don't have a desire to overcome. That's a different story. I'm not talking about such people, but you have the true desire to break a habit because you call it as a habit that you really don't want to get attached, right? And um, see, we always reason, right? That's the kind of sessions we make. We always reason and then we will try to explain. Now, why is it so hard to break a habit? It is not so hard to catch up a habit or pick a habit, but why it is becoming so hard when it has positioned, when the habit has positioned its registered its stronghold in you, then why it is becoming really a tough problem, right? And when many people have thought through this, they have understood that there is a psychological factor in the human anatomy. The brain works in certain way. Neurons located in the habit formation region in some part of your brain. Okay, I kept telling you, right? Brain has various regions: memory, habit, smell, etc. Right? Like that, you have that habit formation region. Fire at the beginning of a new behavior when a new behavior gets rejuvenated within you. Now, subside while the behavior occurs. Slowly, it settles down and then fire again once the behavior is finished. This is the way how the brain works. Over time, the patterns form both in behavior and in the brain, right? The brain is the one which contributes to your behavior, and what contributes to the brain and behavior is this habit which has gone inside. That's why you shouldn't only look at the behavior. You shouldn't look at him only like what a brainless fellow he is. Why he's behaving like that? No, all three work together. Then this can make it extremely difficult to break a habit, right? This is possible, quite possible. Brain is involved, your behavioral pattern is involved, and your habitual practices are involved. Very tough to break a habit. That's why sometimes it gets little longer, or sometimes it seems to be, it is a bit difficult to, kind of even conclude these kind of practices. Anyway, now, why is behavior change so hard, right? One is like impossible. Another thing is like so hard. It's complicated and complex because it requires a person to disrupt a current habit. The functions of your body gets used to certain habit and suddenly you have to disrupt it. Moving out from one place to other place itself is a big thing for us, right? The change is not easily going to be acceptable in the human anatomy perspective. That's why before you pick a habit, it's very important for you to check once, twice, million times. And that's what even psychiatrists are suggesting. So be careful before you pick up any habit. Don't simply start, okay, I will get into swimming. Don't simply start, I'll get into alcohol. Don't simply start, I will get into smoking. I will try. If I don't like, I will give it. No, you will not like it, but the smoking will start liking you so much that it won't leave you, right? You want to leave smoking, but smoking won't leave you. Hey, you're my best friend. So you don't want to get into these kind of unnecessary things, right? This process takes time, usually longer than we prefer. So that's the underlining statement I would like to make. And with that, right, we want to get into the top habits, bad habits, right? Top 10 bad habits. What the researchers have found, there are many medical scholars who have got into this kind of research, taking case studies, analyzing a person's lifestyle, etc. So don't take all of these things lightly. You may not fall into this, or you may fall into all of this, or you may fall into some of this. Don't take it lightly, right? Number one bad habit, what they are saying is postponing your goals. Anybody who tends to say these kind of things, you ask them anything, they will say, tomorrow I will see. Let me look after it up, after 3 months. Give me 1 year, okay? And after that, you tell me. And these kind of people, they get into many sorts of bad habits, and this is translated to sluggishness. Laziness is one of the worst bad habit that these researchers have found out. Therefore, take it seriously. Second thing is self sabotaging, right? Or self prejudice. Some people always try to always praise about their own deeds, although it's a very small thing they would have accomplished. They would always praise it so much. So what happens is they don't grow too much in their life, or over a period of time you will see them going backward. So that is the big problem that you see in these kind of people, right? um, the third bad habit that I could see is running away from problems. They face a problem, they will pull down the shutter and no, I don't want to do this. For example, academics. The couple of failures they had gone through in their subjects, and then they will shut it down. No academics. Let me get into business. Couple of failures, shutting down business. Let me get into something else, shutting down, running away from problems. No, if they don't have the courage to face the problem, that's called as running away from problem. And that's one of the deadliest bad habit that the researchers have found out. What you thought when I am going to list down the bad habits, alcoholism, drug addicts, and all that, those are all something that which you can handle it over a period of time. But when it comes to habits, that's to do with your psychology, that's to do with your habitual practice, right? In your life, day in and day out. So that is where you need to watch out, right? Worrying is another bad habit, right? About the future, about the things are yet to take place. Many people, they will get into the imaginary world, they will assume that, oh, this has happened to me, and they will start worrying too much. They will also spoil the atmosphere, they will kill the happiness in the family. I've seen many things, many people of this category, right? A simple pain in the body, they will relate it to some sickness. Oh, dreadful sickness, I'm finished, I'm gone, I'm counting my days. They will start coughing, and I'm counting my I've seen so many people. So you need to change that habit, right? No one can help you, only you can help yourself. Worrying is a very very bad habit, all right? And the next one is dominance, trying to control everything wherever they go. They want that kind of kindergarten habit, is what I could translate it as. Child gets wants to get attention, no? If 10 people are talking to each other and the child is ignored, it will immediately cry, just make some drama and all that. Some people are like that, right? They want dominance everywhere, they want the attention over them, and that emerges as a very bad habit that pulls you away from people. People will run away from you, and you will also end up in depression over a period of time, right? And the next one, last two things, right? Blaming is another attitude. Blaming is because of too much of gossiping, too much of complaining attitude. Therefore, you will start anything you give them, even the good things you do to them, they will try to find fault in that, right? They will always circle around that little world called as blaming. Therefore, you need to really uh, take care of this attitude. I'm telling you, all of these problems you may have, no problem, right? Today, it's like a I'm coming up with a torch and shedding light on you. Therefore, what happens is you got to know that there is something wrong in you. Now, don't be a compromiser, or don't be a person who's so reluctant, saying that, hey, in this world, if I'm a human being, I have to go through all of these emotions, man. Come on, what's a big deal? If you keep asking that, what happens is you won't grow in your life. You will end up in depression at some point of time. Because why? You will feel so frustrated and disappointed at some point of time in the future that you're not able to break any of these bad habits. In fact, for you to know that this is a bad habit, it may take several decades. Why several decades? Why not today? I'm here as your friend telling you this already, right? The last one is trying to be something you are not. It's called as pretending to be somebody, right? You tend to always call yourself, hey, you know what, I'm great at hosting a meeting or something like that. But since you know this English, it doesn't mean that you have the skill of hosting a meeting. Hosting has a different needs a different caliber, different skill, right? Or some people say, I'm good at playing cricket, therefore let me get into football. Soccer, you need to be a very good athlete, but cricketer, you need not be a good athlete, right? You can even hit fours and sixers. I've seen some of the really heavyweight fellows like Arjuna Ranatunge. the captain of Sri Lanka, winning the World Cup, and nobody could believe that he could run. He also runs, but then more than that, he has the technique of scoring runs. That is enough for cricket. But the same fellow, can he play soccer? No, he cannot. And he was wise. He picked the right game, that sport that suited him. Some people try to pretend who they are, right? And that is a bad habit. So make a note of all these bad habits. There are more in my list, but it goes on and on. But I think this is good enough for you to get an essence. And I have not spoken about smoking, alcoholism, speaking lies, and all that. Although they are like, no, I'm coming into the next session, but very interesting session. One, what is that? Some habits are really hard to break. You understand, huh? And people are thinking it is alcoholism, smoking, and drug addicts and all that. Those people will somehow overcome. But these guys will never be able to overcome. What are they? Number one is lying. Yes, right. You rightly guessed it. Lying, the liars, no. Uh, you ask them anything, even they want to speak the truth, immediately that will come as a lie. So please try to watch over that habit. Let your answer be yes or no. Anything in between these two is called as a lie. That's a definition, simple definition for lie. Number two, snacking. Every 1 hour they want to snack something, and then they will go to the doctor. He will say cholesterol is up and gone, and you have put so much of weight, and due to which you got knee pain and ergonomic issues, whatnot. Snacking is a very, very contagious habit. You see somebody snacking, you will also feel like snacking. Doesn't mean that you should run away from such people, but I'm saying you don't snack, you don't make it contagious for others also to snack. Right? That's a simple thing what I could think of. Right? Second, third important thing is the bad habit to which is really hard to break is low esteem. Right? Don't have a low self-esteem. Always take pride in whatever you do. All that may be a failure, you still have certain learnings behind it. I kept on talking about this in multiple sessions, right? You got to stay positive even in the midst of failures. That's how Isaac Newton was a successful man. That's how Albert Einstein was a successful man. That's how the man who for the first time glided from the top of the hill, pretending it's an aircraft, went and fallen down, broke his bones. But still, today you and I are able to fly because of that one person's positive attitude that he never gave up. He came up again to glide. Then finally he discovered a aircraft. Correct, no? So don't have that low esteem, low self-esteem. Please come out of that. And hatred, right? If you are having that grudge, that's called as technically vengeance or revenge. It's not at all easy to break that habit. It may take a million years. You're not going to live for a million years. It will not be possible at all. So convert into some sort of love, affection, forgiveness, kindness. And imagine you also have shortcomings. You are not a perfect human being, jump from heaven or somewhere. You also have such problems. Therefore he has such problems. Therefore it's fine. Since nobody is even talking about that to me, I also will not mind about it. It's okay, take it easy, right? Don't take it so personal. So these are few bad habits where people tend to struggle a lot, right? And they may spend even multiple years, multiple decades, as I told you before. Okay, now there is one theory which called as, it has got a little complicated name, trans trans theoretical trans theoretical model. It's called as technically TTM, right? Now why this TTM is very important, I will tell you. The TTM moves through 6 stages of changes that every human being will have to go through in their life cycle, right? You were a born child, then you become grown up, toddler, then you become a teenage boy, then you become an adult, then you get into marriage, right? Then you become parents, then you become grandparents and stuff like that, then you become a working professional in between these two. So what happens is when you go through these many changes in your life, stages of your life, so there are 6 things which will you have to go through. Number one is pre-contemplation. The terminology may be a little technical or little medical, but don't be worried about the terminology or the name. By definition, it's called as pre-contemplation. Pre-contemplation means in the stage people do not intend to take action in the foreseeable future, right? In the near future, what is supposed to come, they don't tend to take action. And defined as within the next 6 months, people are often unaware that their behavior is problematic or even produces negative consequences, right? People in this stage often underestimate the pros and cons of their changing behavior, and place too much emphasis on the cons of changing behavior. One good example will be people who move from the childhood towards teenage, right? There will be hormonal changes. Those people don't tend to plan everything because they lack an experience. They have just gone into the adulthood, or the teenager way of living their life. So it's really quite possible for them to be a little negligent or casual. Contemplation is the second stage, right? Second stage. And in this stage, people are intending to start the healthy behavior in the foreseeable future. They become a little more mature, right? They start thinking about their profession. They start thinking about their married life. I need to have some savings for me to run a family, isn't it? Right? People recognize that their behavior may be problematic, right? And more thoughtful and a practical consideration of the pros and cons of changing the behavior takes place. You will see a lot of people suddenly giving up some habits, suddenly embracing certain habits. All these things happens in the stage called as contemplation. They give more food for thoughts, right? It's like an appetite for them. So even with this recognition, people may still feel ambivalent towards changing the behavior. This is quite possible too. Not all people in the stage contemplation stage are successful. They tend to make some wrong decisions, foolish decisions too. Not all are successful people, because it's a learning process, beginning of the learning process. Third stage is preparation or a determination. They call it as determination. Very determined to do something in the stage. People are ready to take action within the next 30 days, next 1 week. They're very quick to react because they understand that their time is running and the pressure is building up, that they need to prove and deliver something in their life. People start to take small steps towards their behavioral change. People may the people, and they believe changing their behavior can lead to a healthier life. That is also possible, right? When you start thinking that I have very less time, what happens is you will start running a little faster, a little aggressive, and therefore you really don't tend to sit at one place quietly. You will start trying multiple things. All this happens in this preparation determination stage, right? Fourthly fourthly action. Action is the fourth stage. I'm talking about the life cycle in which all of us have to travel through the 6 stages. Fourth stage is action. Action means in this stage, people have recently changed, right? Changed their behavior from the previous stage. No, what is the previous stage? Determination stage. Now, in this stage, since their habit recently changed or have behavior recently changed, they intend to keep moving forward with their behavioral change. They would love to be consistent. People may exhibit this by modifying their problem behavior or acquiring new healthy behaviors, right? Quite possible. This is the stage where you will see people embracing lots and lots of new habits. It's like an experimenting stage where they would like to go on, kind of go for a shopping spree in the world among the people, and they will try to embrace. This roughly happens after marriage. That is roughly between the age group of 28 to 35, is what some researchers are saying. Fifth thing, right? Maintenance is the next stage. In this stage, people have sustained their behavior change for a while. Now they are little consistent, they're determined that they're going to stick to it, and they're more or less sure these are my top 5 to 6 behavioral changes or habits. I'm going to stick to it. Because why? It had proven certain outputs and results in their profession, in their married life, and they become parents and they're able to take care of the financial needs and stuff like that. They have seen the output, and they're very confident, right? And people at this stage work to prevent relapse to earlier stages. They don't tend to go back. They're very confident of moving forward. Some people want to live like this till the end of their life, in the similar way. Why? Because it's a proven theory. They have experimented enough. They've through the determination stage and contemplation stage and all that, and they will embrace it. They will stick to it, right? The sixth stage is termination. Termination is a very important stage and a dangerous stage sometimes. In this stage, people have no desire to return to their unhealthy behaviors and are sure they will not relapse. Since this is rarely reached and people tend to stay in the maintenance stage, that is the previous stage, this stage is often not considered in healthy promotion programs. The reason I will tell you, or health promotion programs, not healthy promotion, health promotion programs. What happens is they will start striving too much, working in those model which they have acquired, right? Those habits and all that. That itself could become a bad habit. What happens is they get too much stressed and they don't want to inculcate any new practices. They're quite stringent, they're quite stubborn, they're quite stiff-necked, and that itself becomes a bad habit, and that's the only dangerous part. But the better side of the stage is you will see them as a very concrete, confident, and consistent people. They will be systematic in doing things on what they had learned. But the flip side is they'll be more systematic, that they become so mechanical and they don't seem to enjoy anything in their life or learn anything new. Because why? Day after day, technology is changing, the world is changing, trend is changing, but they will be adopting to the old notebook and the penning mechanism. They don't like to email. They would like to have the postcard, no, stick it and then mail it, something like that. They don't like to email, electronic mail. They don't like. One example I told, right? Now, to progress through this stages of change, people apply cognitive, affective, and evaluative process. Sorry, the English was a little complicated, right? 10 processes of changes have been identified, with some processes have been more relevant to the specific stages of change than other processes. Now, these processes result in strategies that help people make and maintain changes, right? There are 10 processes they go through while these 6 stages are accomplished in their life. It's like a life cycle, right? You go through these 10 processes. What are they? Consciousness. You start to do things very consciously. Therefore, what happens is it will help to discriminate between the bad habits and good habits. Ultimately, all this boils down to habits, right? And at what stages the habits tend to change is what I have told, 6 stages. Now, during the 6 stages, what are all the 10 different processes that happens in your physical anatomy, in your brain thought process, in your in your behavioral pattern, right? In your the way how you behave, the way how your facial expression changes you, the way how the accent changes, talks changes, right? All these things happens through the change in processes, right? Number one is conscious. You become more conscious in doing things, and you don't tend to think twice because you're very confident, and but you are consciously doing things because you're very careful of not making mistakes, right? Number two, um, self re-evaluation, right? You always love to ask this question multiple times, whether what I'm doing is right or not, right? This is the process change which you will not see at the initial stages, but as you progress, right, you will see that self evaluation. And the third thing is social liberalization, or I would say it's like liberalizing yourself from all bad practices. And this process changes will help you to liberalize from the bad practices. I don't want to read all the 10 process changes. And the fourth thing is hormonal changes and the stimulus control. I think you all know what it is, right? We all have to be used to that hormonal changes at regular intervals of age. I'm not a doctor, but maybe you can Google and see at the between the age of 14 to 21, one hormonal change happens. Between the age of 21 to 25, something happens. After marriage, it happens for 10 years. Then at the age of 50, it happens. Age of 65, it happens. Something like that, right? It's a life cycle, and the body changes. The hormone changes, the behavioral pattern changes. Behavioral pattern changes, habits changes, thought process changes. So we all have to be used to it. There is nothing wrong to change your habits according to the age, according to the trend, according to the the world, how progressively it moves. You need not necessarily stick, but certain habits which this world introduces are going to be really vulnerable, dangerous. Therefore, it would be far better for you to stick to the original habit, what you had learned maybe 2 decades ago, right? So that's the decision call we have to take, all of us have to take, right? Now, what are the tips? How can I overcome bad habits? Ultimately, why I told that is from the medical science perspective, how our physical anatomy work. But then there are 4 or 5 things I want to give it as a tip, right? And therefore, we all learn how to overcome the bad habits. You have certain bad habits. Some of them I listed, some of them I may not have listed, but you're struggling too hard to overcome. Number one is commit yourself to a achievable or a reasonable goal, right? And start working towards that goal, about which we have spoken almost in every session. Number two, understand your habit, right? You have an understanding of your habit, and you start introspecting the reasons that is triggering your habit. It could be a bad companionship. It could be that you have too much of money, and you have access to that money and you become a spendthrift. So what happens is probably you can invest in fixed deposits or bonds or money that cannot be broken, or give it to your parents, or you don't want to trust anyone, then put it in bond and you cannot break it, right? You have to lock that money. So that way you end up saving more money and you don't become a spendthrift, because that's your bad habit, right? You don't want to spend much on unnecessary things. Some people, you take them anywhere, anything they want to buy anywhere, right? They may have the same thing, but this color I like, no, I will buy another television set. This car I like, I will upgrade it. Now only he would have bought a car, new car, one not even 1 year old, but he would want to upgrade it. Some people have that kind of bad habits, and they don't even tend to think it's a bad habit. Why? Because they say, I want to live in a very liberalized way. Yeah, I'm a free thinker or something like that. And the third thing is third important tip to overcome is examine the context of your habit. Is it a fruitful context? Is it a context that's going to deliver certain things constructively, or is it taking towards you to the destructive path? Alcoholism, a habit. What happens is it takes you to the destructive path if you do not have things in control or right measures. It can spoil your liver. It can damage many things in the parts of your body. About alcoholism, I've done a session. You'll be shocked. The alcohol is not meant for consumption, right? But people tend to take. But anyway, it's your call, right? The next thing is like visualize, be a visionary for what you want to achieve in the futuristic perspective. You don't have a vision, you don't have a plan. You don't have a plan, you don't have a path forward. You don't have a path forward, you are stuck in the same situation, same habit. Therefore, don't blame anyone, blame yourself for what you are. Even after 20 years, you don't change. Why? Because you're not a visionary. You don't know what you want to achieve in your life. I've seen many people, and they've even taken a lot of counsel from me. But the only thing that I tell them is, you are the only person who would know what you like, what is your interest. Therefore, you need to visualize. You need to have a big vision. What you want to imagine, what you want to dream, what you want to achieve. Dream big is another session we have spoken. Probably you may want to go through that also. That will help. So we have done a lot of sessions. I can go on and on, but then there are a couple of things I want to tell you. Change your environment, right? Sometimes you know what, you change your place, right? You change your apartment, so that companionship changes, the atmosphere changes, the old practices changes. You don't get to see the same liquor shop, you don't get to see the same mall where you go and spend, you don't get to see the same bunch of lousy guys who always want to come and sit in your apartment, talk. I don't know what they're talking about, but they'll be talking, spending 10 hours, wasting time, wasting effort, wasting energy, and they all go to bed, right? I've seen many people and they don't do any work other than talking, gossiping. So change your environment, which means with anything, right? You may vacate your apartment, you may change your job, right? You can change anything. So change is a must sometimes to break these bad habits. All right. With this, we end this session. I hope this was a very useful session. We have provided all that we could do from a very comprehensive perspective. We covered almost everything that I could possibly. You have any specific questions? You need any specific help? WhatsApp us at 99022125152 is our WhatsApp number. Or you please comment or give us a feedback or leave behind a topic that you would like to learn more. I will research and I'll come back to you. It's a promise. Otherwise, I would strongly encourage, please subscribe to our channel, get access to all our playlist videos, and then stay blessed. All right. And any other help you need, please let us know, in terms of knowledge and in terms of motivational topics, etc. Whatever it may be, let us know. God bless you. Bye bye. I'll see you very soon with the next session. Okay.